The station lights flickered as a warning siren echoed through the empty metal halls. Commander Ray stood at the main gate, hand on his sidearm, eyes locked on the motion sensor. Something or someone was approaching. Heavy footsteps echoed. 1, 2, 3. The doors hissed open. A tall figure stepped into the light. She was not human. Her skin was silver blue, and her armor was scratched, burned, and covered in green blood. One of her eyes glowed red. She walked slowly, limping, gripping something between her legs with one hand. Ray didn't move. Neither did the guards behind him. The alien female stared back, breathing hard. "Identify yourself," Ray said. She tilted her head. "Do you always greet the wounded with guns, human?" Ray blinked. Her voice was deep, smooth, but not mechanical. She was real, alive. "You crossed into human space. You didn't send a signal." "I didn't have time for your rules," she said. "I was being hunted." Her gaze moved to Ray's face, then lower to his chest, then waist. She narrowed her eyes. "You keep staring, human. Why?" Ray frowned. "Staring? I think you're confused." She took another step forward. Her hand never left the bulge between her legs. "Is that why you're acting strange? Because of what you see? Does the bulge between my legs intrigue you?" The room went silent. The guards looked at each other. Ray held up his hands. "We're not here to judge you. We just want answers." She let out a low laugh. It didn't sound amused. Your kind always watches with wide eyes. You look at things you don't understand and call them strange. Dangerous. Ray nodded to the medic. "We need to treat your wounds." She pulled back. No scans. No machines. No touching me there." "Why?" She stared at him, jaw tight. "Because what I carry is not for your eyes. My people would kill you for even trying to look." Ray took a step back. This wasn't going to be easy. "Then why did you come here?" he asked. She looked tired now, weaker. Her legs shook a little. "Because your station was the only place near. I thought your kind would help. Maybe I was wrong." Suddenly, her knees buckled. She dropped to the floor with a loud thud. Her hands clutched the bulge again, tighter now. She groaned in pain. Ray rushed forward. The guards raised their weapons, but he waved them down. The alien was breathing fast. Sweat ran down her face. Her armor had cracks. The bulge under her suit glowed faintly now, blue and white light blinking from inside. Ray leaned close. "What's in there?" She looked at him with half-closed eyes. "Something alive, something growing. Something that should not be born near humans." "What does that mean?" She didn't answer. Ray stood up. "Get her to med bay, gently, no scans, no contact with the bulge." As they lifted her, the glow from the bulge grew brighter. Inside her armor, something moved. They placed her in a sealed room. The cameras were off. She had demanded privacy. Ray watched through the one-way glass. She was awake again, sitting up slowly, speaking softly to herself. Her hand rested over the bulge like a mother protecting a child. The lights in her room flickered. Ray felt something wrong, a strange pressure in his head. Like a whisper, but without sound. He turned to the technician. "Are you picking that up?" The tech shook his head. "No, sir." No signals, no interference. Then, the lights went out just in her room. When they returned, she was standing. One hand on the wall, breathing hard. A long crack now ran down the center of the bulge. Ray looked at the screen. Something was changing, shifting, not just inside the pod, but in the air around it. The temperature dropped. A new warning appeared on the console. Unidentified energy. Source detected. The technician looked nervous. "Sir, this isn't normal. Something's waking up." Ray looked again at the alien woman. She stared back straight through the glass, as if she could see him. She spoke, but no mic was on. Yet Ray heard her in his mind. "If it comes out too early, we all die." The room was cold, too cold for a human station. But inside the sealed med bay, the alien woman stood perfectly still. The glow from the bulge between her legs was brighter, now casting moving shadows on the wall. Commander Ray watched through the glass again. She hadn't spoken in hours. Not a single word. But something was changing inside her. Suddenly, her eyes opened wide. She gasped, dropped to her knees, and screamed. But the scream made no sound. Her mouth moved, her throat tightened, but nothing came out. The glow turned red. Ray rushed to the console. What's happening to her? The technician looked pale. There's no data, sir. No sound, no heat, no motion detected. But the camera is shaking. Inside the room, her body trembled. Then, from the bulge, a crack opened. Ray's first thought, she's giving birth. But what came out was not a child. A thin black mist leaked from the crack and floated into the air. It twisted and pulsed, like it was alive. It moved toward the ceiling, then suddenly froze, as if it sensed it was being watched. Ray turned on the speaker. What is that? What did you just release? The alien looked at him, eyes filled with anger and pain. It's not what you think, she whispered. Then tell me what it is. She didn't answer. She touched her chest, then pointed to the pod. Life, she said, but not born like yours. Not made like yours. It is memory, it is instinct. It is a soul that needs a body. Ray stared at her. That thing was inside. You? She shook her head. It still is. Then the mist vanished. It didn't fly away or fade. It simply disappeared. Ray opened the door. I'm coming in. The guards tried to stop him, but he walked through anyway. Inside the room, the air felt heavy, almost wet. He stepped slowly, carefully. The alien watched him. Why are you risking yourself? She asked. Because I need the truth. I can't protect what I don't understand. She studied his face, then nodded. Then look, she said. She slowly unsealed a part of her suit. Just a small flap on the front. Ray saw it for the first time. The bulge wasn't flesh or armor. It was a pod built into her body. Soft, glowing, and slightly transparent. Inside, something small floated. It was shaped like an egg, but inside the egg, something moved, something with small fingers. Ray stepped back. That's alive? Yes, and you've been carrying it inside you? I am its shell, she said. Its shield, its memory, and now, its danger. Ray sat down, unsure what to say. The alien spoke again. Your people will fear it. They will try to take it. They will not understand. Then help us understand, Ray said. We won't hurt you. She looked at him. You already are. She pointed to the console. Your station is leaking noise. Machines that never sleep. Lights that burn without reason. This place is poison to it. Ray was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, why did you come here really? She turned away. I didn't mean to. I was running from hunters. From my own kind. Why? Because I broke the rule. What rule? No child must be mixed. Ray didn't understand. Mixed? She looked over her shoulder. The child inside me ... is not pure. It is not just mine. It carries pieces of something else. Something alien to my people. Ray's heart skipped. Human? She didn't answer. But her silence said enough. Ray stood. Is that why the hunters are coming? To destroy the child? She nodded slowly. To erase the mistake. Ray looked at the pod again. Inside, the small shape pressed a tiny hand to the inner wall, as if reaching out. Suddenly, an alarm went off. A voice came from the speaker. Commander Ray, unknown ship approaching. No ID, no signal. Ray looked at the alien. Her eyes closed. They found me. Ray turned to leave the room. Before he stepped out, she said softly, you saw what I carry. Now ask yourself, human, Is it worth protecting? Ray paused. I don't know yet, but I think yes. As he left, the camera inside the med bay glitched for a second. When it came back online, the alien was whispering to the pod dot, and inside, the small shape blinked. With Ray's eyes. A soft vibration ran through the floor, just once, then again. Louder. Commander Ray stood on the bridge, staring at the black void outside the window. A dark shape hovered in space. No lights, no signal, no sound. They're here, the alien woman said, standing quietly behind him. The hunters, she hadn't slept. Her skin was paler now. The pod inside her still pulsed with light, but it was weaker. She had wrapped her armor tight again, as if hiding it would help. The crew whispered behind her back. Some wanted her gone, others were just afraid. No one trusted her. Not yet. But Ray, he wasn't sure anymore. He had seen the child. Seen the truth. Why don't they hail us? Ray asked. Because they're not here to talk, she replied. They're watching, deciding, planning. Ray nodded to his communications officer. Send a message anyway. Let them know we don't want trouble. The alien placed her hand on his shoulder. Her fingers were cold. They don't care what you want, human. They don't see you as a threat, or even as a species. Just a roadblock. Ray looked at her. And what do you see us as? She was quiet. Then she said, I haven't decided. Yet, the silence between them was heavy. It was the kind of silence that meant something. Finally, she turned to him. You want answers. You want peace. Fine, ask your questions. Ray blinked. Now, you get 3, make them count. He took a breath. First, what is that thing inside the pod really? It's not just a baby, is it? Her jaw tensed. No, it's something more. It is designed. Not born, a weapon. A mind, a soul, all in one, Ray nodded. Second, why do you need me? Why did you scan me in my sleep? She hesitated, then answered. Your DNA has a pattern, a lock we couldn't break. But the child, it responded to your code. It saw you and calmed. Ray felt cold. And third, what happens if the hunters get it? The alien's eyes glowed faintly. If they get it, they will erase me, erase the child. And maybe erase you too, because now, you are part of it. Ray said nothing. He just stared into space where the hunter ship floated like a shadow. Suddenly, the ship moved. Slow, silent. Closer, red lights blinked on the control panel. They're charging weapons, the officer said. Ray turned to the alien. Can you talk to them, reason with them? She laughed. Just once. They don't listen to traitors. You're not a traitor. To them I am. The bridge lights dimmed. The ship outside HUMMED. Then, a message came through, not by radio but directly into their systems. The screen turned black. One word appeared. Return the carrier. Ray looked at the alien. She whispered, they mean me. A long pause followed. Then she added, and the child. Ray turned to the crew. We're not handing her over. Murmurs broke out. One officer shouted, Sir, with respect, we don't even know what she is. She's a living being under our care, Ray said. And she's not our enemy. The alien stepped forward. Not yet. Everyone turned. I came here to escape, she said. Not to fight, but if you force me, if you turn me away, I will become your enemy. Her eyes glowed red again. Her voice dropped. And I will not be alone. The crew backed away. Even Ray felt uneasy. But then, the pod pulsed softly, and a soft hum filled the room. A calm, strange sound. Like a lullaby in a forgotten language. Everyone froze. The alien looked down at herself, surprised. It is speaking. The pod glowed brighter. The energy readings on the screen spiked, but not like a weapon. It was more like a signal. Message. Ray leaned forward. What's it saying? The alien closed her eyes. It's asking if it's safe. Ray took a step forward. Tell it yes. The alien opened her eyes. It doesn't trust my answer. Ray understood. He turned toward the pod. He didn't know if it could hear him, but he spoke anyway. You are safe here. I promise. A light blinked once from the pod, then again. Like a heartbeat, slow, calm, then the hunter ship blinked off. The screen vanished, gone, no warp trail. No sound, no weapons fired. Ray turned to the alien. What just happened? She looked confused. They ran, or they were warned, Ray asked. By who? She looked down at the pod and whispered, not who, what? Commander Ray woke up sweating. Not from a nightmare, but from something stranger that he had dreamed of walking through. Metal halls filled with light, but the light wasn't white. It was the same soft blue that came from the alien's pod. And in that dream, he heard a voice, his own voice, but younger. It had whispered, we are not so different. He sat up. Fast, chest tight. Something was wrong. Ray grabbed his shirt and opened the door to his quarters. A red warning light blinked in the hallway. Unauthorized access. Medical sector. He ran when he reached the med bay. 2 guards were unconscious on the floor. No wounds. Just asleep. Too deep. Like a forced coma. Ray opened the door and stopped. Alien was standing next to his medical file. It was glowing. She was scanning it with her bare hand. Her armor was open at the chest, the pod inside still glowing softly. You scanned me again, Ray said. She didn't turn. Yes. Why? She turned now slowly. Because I had to know if what I saw was real, if your body is what I thought it was. Ray stepped closer. And what did you think? She stared at him, not angry, not scared, but curious. You are soft, she said. Your kind is loud, weak-looking, but your cells, they change, fast. You survive injury, stress, madness. You bend, but don't break. Ray blinked. You broke into my records, to admire my immune system? No, she said, voice flat. I broke in to see if you could carry what I carry. If your kind could survive it. Ray felt a chill. Survive what? The future. He didn't know how to respond to that. The alien stepped closer. You think I came here by mistake. You think I crashed into your space. But no, I chose this station. I chose your species. Why? She looked down at the pod. Because my kind creates perfection, but perfection is dead. It doesn't grow. It doesn't feel. You humans, you feel too much. It makes you chaotic. But it also makes you powerful. She looked up at him now. Her voice dropped low. My body was built to carry only one kind of life. My kind, but I let it change. I let it take something from you. Ray understood. Finally, the child is half human. She nodded, and your people wanted dead because of that. She nodded again. Ray rubbed his face. We need to talk to Earth Command. Let them know everything. Maybe we can protect you both. Maybe we can make peace. Her face turned hard. There's no peace with what I did. I made a choice that cannot be undone. I built a body not meant to carry love, and I broke it. Ray looked confused. What do you mean, love? She looked away. Her voice cracked. We do not have mates. Not like you. We merge thoughts. Merge roles. No passion. No touch. Ray swallowed. Then how did you? She cut him off. I studied your kind. Watched your stories. Read your emotions. When I took your pattern, I felt something change. My pod responded. And I began to want. Ray took a step back. You didn't just copy my DNA, she nodded. No, I copied your feeling. The pod pulsed brighter. It felt joy when you laughed, she said softly. It felt safe when you spoke to it. Ray's eyes stayed on the pod. It's not just a weapon, is it? She shook her head. It never was. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. "Commander," the comms officer said over the speaker, "we just picked up an encrypted message. It's from inside the station." Ray turned. "What?" "There's a transmission repeating. They'll betray you. Leave now." Ray looked at the alien. She said nothing. He ran out of the med bay. He reached the command room and pulled up the message. It had come from one of his own. "Crew Lieutenant Harlow." Ray slammed his hand on the desk. He was listening. Spying, sending info back to the hunters. The alien appeared behind him again, quiet as always. "I warned you," she said. "Not all your kind is curious. Some are only afraid." Ray stared at her, breathing heavy. "You said your body wasn't made for love. But you chose love anyway. That's not weakness. That's human." She looked surprised. She didn't answer. He walked past her toward the door. She called after him, "Ray." He stopped. She said, "This body is not yours to judge. But neither is it mine anymore. It belongs to what's growing inside me." Ray turned and looked her in the eyes. "Then let's protect it, together." There were no alarms, no shouting, no fighting. And yet, the station felt like it was falling apart. Commander Ray stood in the engine room, watching the lights flicker on and off. Power levels were dropping, even though nothing was damaged. Crew had already checked for viruses, leaks, and overloads. Everything was fine, but at WS in single quotes to dot the alien woman stood nearby, silent. Her eyes stayed on the glowing pod inside her body. It was brighter than ever, almost too bright to look at now. The shape inside had grown. Legs, arms, a head. "It's feeding," she said quietly. Ray turned. "Feeding on what? Energy?" "No," she said. "On you, all of you." Ray froze. "Explain." She sat down on the metal floor, legs folded. "It doesn't drink blood. It doesn't eat food. It feeds on emotion, on the feeling in the air. That's how it grows." Ray blinked. "That's impossible." She looked up at him. "No, just misunderstood. My kind built it during a war. To detect threats before they formed. To sense anger, fear, hate, and react, but it didn't work. Why not?" She lowered her head. "Because it couldn't survive in pain. It needed peace, and peace is something we never had." Ray slowly sat across from her. "So what does that mean for us?" She touched the pod gently. "It means this station must stay calm. It means your crew must feel safe, or it will starve. Or worse, mutate." Ray sighed. "That won't be easy. Half the crew wants you gone. The other half wants to dissect you." "Then choose better humans," she said flatly. He almost laughed, but he didn't. "Can I ask something personal?" He said. She nodded. "You're a soldier. A warrior, cold, sharp. You've killed, haven't you?" "Yes." "So how do you live with this thing inside you? This soft thing? This peaceful thing?" She placed both hands on her knees. "Because I was tired of war. Because I wanted to carry something that didn't hurt." Ray felt that, deeply. Later, he gathered the crew. In the central hall. They stood in a circle. No weapons. No helmets. Just eyes. Faces. Ray stood in the center and spoke. "Some of you are afraid. I get it. So am I, but fear is what feeds the enemy out there. And hope is what feeds what's growing inside this station. Some people look down. Some cross their arms. I'm not asking you to trust her," Ray continued. "But I am asking you to lower your voices, to lower your hate. Because if we don't, we'll lose the only chance we have at something better." No one clapped. No one cheered, but no one left either. That night, things changed. Music played in the mess hall. Old Earth songs. A cook baked fresh bread. Someone told a joke. Another whispered a story from home. And slowly, the lights stopped flickering. In the med bay, the alien stood near the window. She watched the pod pulse with soft, slow rhythm. "It's growing right. she said. Ray entered. You were right. She nodded. But peace never lasts, not in space. Ray sat down beside her. We can make it last, maybe. Just then, a loud explosion rocked the station. Lights shut off. Alarms. Screamed. The floor shook under their feet. Ray jumped to his cum. Report, a voice crackled through. Power core hit. Hull breach deck 7. The alien ran toward the door, but stopped. The pod inside her glowed white-hot. Then, it cracked. Ray's eyes widened. No, too soon. She fell. To the floor, gripping her chest. The pod cracked again. A high-pitched hum filled the air, like the sound of a child crying from inside a dream. Help me. She shouted. Ray ran to her side, grabbing her hand. What do I do? Tell me, she screamed. Don't let me break. Ray held her. You're not breaking. You're changing. A third crack opened. Then silence. The glow vanished. Smoke rose. From the center of her chest. And there it was. The pod had opened like a flower. And in the middle of it, curled up and still breathing, was something small. Not a monster. Not a machine. A child. Skin pale. Eyes closed. Hands curled near its face. Then it opened its eyes. They were green, just like Ray's. The child didn't cry. It just stared, eyes wide. Green, blinking slowly as if it had been watching the world even before it was born. Ray sat beside the alien warrior, speechless. The pod was open. Its lights were gone. What lay inside wasn't glowing anymore. It was alive. Tiny, fragile, breathing gently. Human, but not. Ray leaned in, whispering, Is it okay? The alien nodded. Weakly, her voice was low, tired. It's healthy. It survived. Too early, but it survived. Ray asked, What do we do now? She didn't answer right away. Instead, the child looked at Ray and smiled. Then, it spoke. But it didn't speak in the alien's language. It didn't speak in gibberish. It spoke with his voice. Ray. Ray froze. He hadn't imagined it. The voice was clear, familiar, like a recording of himself, softer, younger. He whispered, Did it just say my name? The alien exhaled slowly. Yes, it's repeating. It learns by echo. It pulls memories from nearby thoughts, feelings, words. Ray's heart was racing. It pulled them from me? She nodded. From your dreams, your heartbeat. From everything. You said when you thought it wasn't listening. Ray stared at the child again. Why? Why does it look at me like that? Because you gave it safety, she said. To it, you are the first shape of peace. The child blinked. Peace, it repeated. Again in Ray's voice. Ray nearly laughed but stopped. He looked at the alien. Is it copying me? Or becoming me? She didn't answer. The med bay door opened fast. A security officer stormed in. Commander, there's been a breach in the data core. Lieutenant Harlow is missing. Ray stood quickly. Lock down the station. He's sending information to the enemy. The officer nodded and ran. Ray turned back. Can you walk? The alien tried. Her legs trembled. Blood ran down her arm. Not far. But I'll try. Ray looked at the child. Can we move it? It will follow peace, she said. If you hold it with calm hands, it will stay calm. Ray gently reached in and picked the child up. It felt warm, almost weightless. And when it touched his chest, it sighed softly, exactly like a sleeping baby. But Ray could feel something. Strange, a pulse, not from the child's body but from his own head, as if something was listening from inside his thoughts. He carried the child into the hallway. Lights flickered. The alarms were still ringing. Ray called over the comm. All stations, condition red. Secure all decks. Harlow is rogue. The alien limped beside him, one hand over her wound. I should have killed him, she said. Ray shook his head. That's not who we are. She stopped walking. That's why you're dying. That's why my people think you're weak. Ray looked her in the eyes. And that's why your child chose us. She looked away. They reached the control deck. Everyone turned when Ray entered, with the child in his arms. No one spoke. They just stared. Then the child lifted its head and looked around. Ray opened his mouth to speak, but the child spoke first. In perfect English. No fighting, please. Everyone froze. It wasn't mimicking anymore. It was thinking. Speaking, with Ray's tone, his rhythm, but its own words. The crew stepped back in fear. Ray said, "It's not a threat." The science officer whispered, It's reading our minds, isn't it?" The alien nodded. "Only surface thoughts. Fear, anger, love, it knows only what you show it." Suddenly, a second voice came through the intercom. "Return it now, Commander." It was Harlow. "I've already signaled. The hunters, they're on their way. If you hand it over, they'll let you live," Ray answered. "You betrayed everyone." "I saved them," Harlow shouted. "You're protecting an alien weapon." Ray looked at the child. It wasn't scared, it wasn't angry, it was humming, a low, peaceful tune. Like a lullaby made of memory. Suddenly, the lights on the station brightened. All systems came back online. The damaged core was repairing itself without any crew touching it. The science officer whispered, "It's fixing us," the alien gasped. "It's learning peace, turning it into strength." Ray held the child close. "We're not giving it up." Then the child touched Ray's cheek with one small hand and whispered, "I see you." Ray froze. He had said that once to a girl, long ago, before war, before space. He had whispered it in love. And now the child had found it. He looked at the alien. She whispered, "It doesn't just remember you. It loves you." Outside, a ship approached. Too fast. Too large. The hunters had arrived. Everything outside the station went dark. Not from power failure, but from something bigger blocking the stars. The hunter ship was massive. No lights, no markings. Just black metal stretching across space like a shadow with no end. Inside the station, no one spoke. Even the alarms had stopped. Commander Ray held the child tight against his chest. Its small eyes were calm. Its heartbeat was steady. It wasn't afraid. The alien woman stepped beside him. Blood still dripped from her side. She didn't seem to notice. Her eyes locked onto the shape in the stars. "They brought the judgment vessel," she said. Ray turned. "What is that?" She didn't look at him. "A ship made to erase mistakes. It doesn't speak. It doesn't ask. It just burns." The crew waited for orders. Ray gave none. Then a low vibration echoed through the station. Not a sound. A feeling. Like the air itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, a message appeared on every screen. "The hybrid is forbidden. Release it or be consumed." Ray stared at it. They don't know it's a child. They think it's still a weapon. The alien whispered, "To them, it doesn't matter." Ray turned to her. "You knew this would happen. You knew they'd come." "Yes," she said. "And you still made the child?" She looked at him, pain in her eyes but not regret. "I didn't make it to win a war. I made it because I wanted something to survive after the war." Ray looked down at the child. It looked up at him, and it smiled. Suddenly, the alien child whispered, "I can stop them." Ray froze. "What?" The child repeated, "I can stop them." "But I need you. What do you mean?" It placed a hand over Ray's heart, and he saw something. Not with his eyes, but in his mind. Vision. He was floating in the stars. Alone. Quiet. And beside him light. Not from the sun, not from a ship, but from memories. His memories. Laughing with his brother. Crying at his mother's funeral. Holding hands with someone he once loved. Failing. Forgiving. The child's voice echoed in his mind. "You gave me these. Now give me all of you." Ray blinked. Back in the real world. The hunter ship began to glow. Weapons warming up. The alien reached out. "Ray, don't. It might kill you." He looked at her. "It's already part of me. Maybe it always was." He held the child tighter and said, "Do it." A pulse of light shot out of the child's soft blue and endless. It spread across the station like water. No one was hurt, but everyone remembered. Each crew member began to relive their best memory. A birthday, a first kiss, a small act of kindness. The things they had forgotten, the things that made them human. Then the pulse reached the hunter ship. And for the first time in its history, it hesitated. The message on the screen changed. "What is this feeling?" the child whispered again. "Peace." Another pulse. The giant ship stopped moving, then turned. And left. Ray dropped to his knees, shaking. The child was asleep in his arms. Glowing softly, the alien woman kneeled beside him, placing her hand over the child. "He didn't destroy them," she said. "He showed them what they forgot." Ray looked at her, still catching his breath. "What now?" She smiled, small and tired. "Now we raise him." Ray looked around. The crew had gathered, silent, changed. Some were crying, others just breathing. One officer stepped forward. "What do we call him?" Ray looked at the sleeping child and said, "Hope." 3 days later, the alien woman stood by the window, her armor cleaned, her wound healed. Ray joined her, holding a warm drink. He glanced at her, then at the stars. "You're not going back with them, are you?" She shook her head. "There's nothing for me there," Ray nodded. "There's something here. A future." She looked at him. "You weren't just part of it, Ray. You were the reason it worked." Ray raised an eyebrow. "Because of my DNA?" She smiled. "No, because of your heart." Ray laughed lightly. "That's the most human thing you've said yet." The alien child giggled nearby, building shapes out of floating data cubes. It looked up and called out in a perfect mix of Ray's voice and hers. "Are you watching, Dad?" Ray blinked. "Did he just call me?" The alien nodded. "Yes." Ray smiled, and this time it reached his eyes.